Raise your profile by attacking easy targets in order to get sympathy for your obviously falsified lawsuit. Your attempt to shake down money because you can't make it on your own. Inflammatory enough to begin with? Well, you might like her, but chances are you're letting your emotions get in the way beforehand. Why do you get an article written about you if you just say something so basic as making fun of pronouns? Everybody on the internet has in one form or another. Directly or indirectly, whether on the left, right, center, up, down, north, south, it doesn't change the fact that there's only a certain class of individual who gets such a high level of attention. The distressed white woman. Anyways, conservative commentator Sydney Watson has caused a stir after arguing the use of inclusive language for typically gendered labels was dehumanizing. Ooh, what a hot take. What is this, 2018? Wow. A group of researchers from the US and Canada suggested alternative terms like male and female and mother and father should be used in science because they assumed sex was binary and heterosexuality the norm. Okay, where does it get into Sydney's hot take? An Australian-American political commentator responded to the news of the EEB, the Ecology and Evolutionary Biology Language Project. Okay, so this is a fringe little organization. She's trying to dunk on them. Okay, see, this is how easy it is. Okay, you just need to take notes on your grift. That male and female should be replaced with sperm producing and egg producing respectively. Yo, it's retarded, but do you really need to comment on it or anything? I don't really know, but whatever. New dehumanizing term for woman just dropped. Notice anything about, don't want to talk about men or anything? Oh, okay, cool. She wrote alongside an image of an article with a headline, use egg producing, not female, says scientists in call to phase out binary language. In another tweet, she suggested that men would be referred to as non-egg producing. The hilarious thing about this is in order to discuss men, they have to say non-egg producing. Well, actually, they don't if you would have done just a little bit of research, but that's fine because she makes a tweet, it gets an article, it gets 315 upvotes on New York Post's little gimmick, and it's like, okay, that's weird. But then you compound that with her Fat Flight episode, which ended up getting her an article in Newsweek. Wow, imagine that. For 3.5 hours on October 10th, American Airlines seat 32B was my own personal hell. Remember, guys, personal hell. I was basically wedged between two people. Oh my god, just look at, she's apparently the one in the red and black flannel hoodie, just wedged between two people. Like, oh my, you can barely breathe. I don't care if this is mean. My entire body is currently being touched against my wishes. How wasn't that a tip-off for anybody else? This self-professed that TradCon wasn't, an undercover feminist. Like, she's using the language, bro. I'm sick of acting like fatness to this extent is normal. To that extent, you're not wedged. You're not wedged by any means or methods. I made several jokes about reparations. This was my Australian humor, which seemed to be lost on the masses. See, everybody else is stupid except for dear depressed me. For me, this has never been about money. That's why you bitched and moaned and whined and complained about getting some sort of recompense for your 3.5-hour trip that you did absolutely nothing in order to improve your situation other than ask once if you could change seats with somebody else. What about the Vice Feminism panel? Oh yeah, hop on an edited up Vice panel, which you know is going to be inflammatory and absolutely bananas in nature. You go on there, you make a video about it. I think that one has 1.7 million views or something like that. Pearl from That Pearly Things is on the panel and she absolutely crushes it. And I don't know if she specifically made any videos about it, but she talked about it on different podcast appearances, and most people have watched the panel, if they've done any reaction to it, have just said, wow, Pearl kind of knocked it out of the park when she was just addressing certain topics. And then Sydney's like, oh yeah, I kind of know who that is. And she, just makes everything about herself. How adorable. And then comes out and makes that video. It was one of the most unhelpful conversations that I have ever participated in. How could you not see the writing on the wall? This lawsuit is going to expose the TradCon grift. And I am totally here for it because it looks like the Blaze isn't going to be backing down on this. Now, if I was Eliza Schaffer, the person who's being alleged to have committed all of these horrible atrocities, I would be sitting back, relaxing, maxing all cool and shooting some b-ball outside the school. I'd be waiting to see what ends up happening with this lawsuit, mostly because it's like, okay, all of my actions are what she's using in order to allege some sort of shakedown for the Daily Beast. And ultimately, if this goes to trial, if it gets past an anti-SLAPP, because this is filed in Texas and they have those provisions that are there, if it ends up going to trial and she ends up falling flat on her face, which kind of seems to be what's going to happen, because there's a lot of alleging, there's a lot of feelings involved, but there's not a lot of facts. There's nothing really criminal about this. This just seems like a fly-by-night attempt to shake down and settle. I've got some more supporting evidence if I haven't convinced you that she's just out there to be a clout grifter. With her previous attempts, I was on a Vice panel. You knew exactly what you were fucking walking into. What do you think it was going to be? You got wedged between two fat people, and then you ended up parlaying that into an op-ed piece for Newsweek. And now you're getting fluff pieces written about you in New York Post because you say that men are men and women are women. Oh, very original ideas, Sydney. About a year ago, Sydney Watson was poised to be a new star in the heady world of right-wing media. Was she? I guess. On a show that they were pushing really hard. She was a few months into co-hosting a show on Glenn Beck's TheBlaze. And it's the Daily Beast that we're using for this one, and they have a hard-on for Glenn Beck. I'm kind of ambivalent to the guy, you know. He's just kind of one of those old, stodgy TradCons that's kind of chilling in the periphery. I've never listened to his show. All I know is that he just likes to cry a lot, and he was a never-Trumper until he became somebody that was very much supporting of Trump. I don't really know all of his stances. It really doesn't much matter in the grand scheme of things. But yes, an online video network and launching pad for big conservative personalities like the two that were named in the lawsuit, Tomi Lahren and Dana Loesch. We'll talk about the former in a second, but the latter, Dana Loesch, like I said, she was working on NRA TV well before she joined TheBlaze in any capacity. Now she's spun that off into an independent show. I do believe that she's running for herself, so big ups to her. She hasn't grifted on any of this stuff beforehand. She had something, you know, she was a big 2A person well before and continued that through everything. Tomi Lahren and Sydney Watson. Well, Tomi Lahren was proto-Sydney Watson. Sydney Watson signed a multi-year deal with TheBlaze, and she claims was worth nearly $1.3 million. Fucking why? That's what I want to know. But Watson had a problem. Her co-host, pugnacious Blaze pundit Eliza Schaffer, who's actually kind of funny. Watson thought Schaffer was setting her up to fail, insisting on grossly misogynistic guests, and even joking on Twitter how he wanted her to sleep with talk show radio host Sebastian Gorka. Could you be any less accurate in your descriptions? What the fuck are you talking about? According to Watson, Schaffer was often drunk on set. Yeah, it's not something that you couldn't see that was on camera. He would drink before the show and during the show as well. Like, this isn't new. What are you doing? Slugging shots of liquor around recording time. Schaffer was obsessed with talking about sex, often specifically gay sex. Jokes! In Watson's account, and would talk about it frequently around her and their guests. On the show, it was wildly popular until she decided that, oh, I'm not getting enough attention out here, so I need to make a big stink about it and rarely show up to the show. Don't see any of that talked about. After months of complaints to Watson, Blaze CEO Tyler Carden allegedly came to her with a gripe of his own. Could she convince Schaffer to cut down on the penis talk? Yeah, of course, but we actually, for the first time that I've seen, we've got a statement from the Blaze. Blaze and the Schaffer didn't respond to a request for comment by press time. After publication of this article, the Blaze reached out to note the claims alleged in this complaint are false. Oh, it's almost like they knew about all of these stupid complaints that Watson was bringing. They looked at him and it's like, well, that's nice. You guys run a comedy interview show. You should probably comport yourself. We look forward to prevailing in this matter. Oh, that's kind of a big L for Sydney, where the plaintiff's statements, emails, and text messages will show her own words why this case might generate publicity, but will fail on the merits. Oh, it's almost like somebody wasn't completely being authentic with them coming to the show to begin with. Tried to sell themselves as, you know, the sundress wearing, floppy hat having, I'm a TradCon. I'm just... over 30, have no kids, and I'm single. Yeah, no, just try to reconcile that. And I'm also a devout atheist, and I'm constantly attacked for everything. You knew what you were walking into. And you thought that it'd be an easy opportunity to cash a paycheck because right-wing media, whether it's independent online media or it's the traditional outlets, they'll just shell out the money. You know who I ultimately blame for this? Roger Ailes at Fox News. Not for, like the handsy, Bill O'Reilly likes a loofah in the shower type gimmick, but hiring all of these, fuck it, I'll just say it, airheaded broads with nice legs to show up on TV, using eye candy to attract those sex-deprived boomer eyes. It's like, oh, I like that Joanne Nosachinski. Oh, Kat Timpf, tell me more, and her librarian glasses really make me hard. Putting one of those pseudo-conservative beauty queens on the screen, great for marketing. Terrible for business, because now it blew up at Fox, and who even knows what the fuck Fox is doing? You take a look at what they're talking about behind the scenes. Oh, Tucker Carlson isn't exactly the right-wing firebrand everybody thought he was. Yeah, good thing I didn't call that out earlier. Imagine that. More like Sean Hannity. They're peas in the same fucking pod. So I have to go with authentic guys with receipts. Sydney Watson was hoping, she was praying that she could get a settlement like Tomi Lahren. Because it was a launching pad. TheBlaze was a launching pad for Dana Loesch and Tomi Lahren. I forgot this happened. Tomi, all manner trash Lahren. Tomi Lahren, the outspoken young conservative TV host who's now at... Where exactly is she? Oh, just bitching, moaning, whining, complaining, and hooking up with emergency bat catchers. Lord have mercy. Has settled her wrongful termination lawsuit against her former employer, Glenn Beck, and his online platform, TheBlaze. How did she shake down with that? Lahren filed a lawsuit against Beck and TheBlaze for wrongful termination in April of 2017. This is well back in the cut. She alleged that she was fired after she said she was in favor of abortion rights on ABC's The View on March 17th. But Lahren and TheBlaze announced on Monday that she had been formally released from her contract, and the company will be allowed to keep the Facebook page she grew during her time working there. Yeah, that's all nice. 4.3 million followers, whatever, reports USA Today. Laren's lawyer, Brian Lawton, Lauren's lawyer. There we go. Said in a statement that she will return all of Blaze's intellectual property to the company. Ms. Lahren is relieved to have this litigation behind her, and she looks forward to connecting with her audience and fan base on pressing political issues facing the country in days to come. And you know where she spun off after that, at least for a little while? Oh, she went to Fox. How fucking adorable. In Lauren's original lawsuit, let's see if we can play a game of spot the similarities. Lauren's attorney said nothing in his client's employment contract prohibited the pundit's comments on The View. In March, Lahren said on the daytime talk show, I can sit here and say that as a Republican, and I can say, you know what, I'm for limited government, so stay out of my guns, and you can stay out of my body as well. TheBlaze maintained that it never fired her. Oh, okay. But Lahren said the company took her off camera and offered to pay her contract if she stayed silent on social media. Cool. Her attorney claimed that since then, Beck and other Blaze employees embarked on a public smear campaign to interfere with her business relationships. Help me, I'm being attacked from misogynists in positions of power. Yeah, there's a reason. There's a specific reason that Sydney Watson, Kurt Schlichter, named Tomi Lahren in their lawsuit. They were hoping, they were praying for a similar settlement, something that could just come and go easily. She could just cash a check and move on with her grift and continue to play the victim everywhere else. But guess what? The buck stops here. Mostly because TheBlaze can't really afford to pay anybody out because they kind of lost Steven Crowder, and I don't know what the rest of their shows are doing at this point in time. So they're tightening up the purse strings. So that means, hey, guess what? No easy money, no free lunches. I don't know, should have just rolled with the dick jokes, I guess. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.